City people are trapped by the strangest thing. Not fear, not danger, not even desire. No. They are trapped because of their manners. If a door opens, they walk in. If a plate is set before them, they eat. If a beautiful stranger smiles, they call it fate. Politeness, my friends, is often just the lamb greeting the butcher. And Ajay was being very polite. That evening, the sun did not truly set. It simply surrendered. The last grey light bled slowly from the mountains, leaving behind a darkness so thick it felt alive. Ajay and Rasika walked the narrow forest path toward Mohini's house, side by side, but already far apart. Rasika kept her arms folded tightly against herself. The cold had little to do with it. She had tried to stop him. She had felt it since morning. The jasmine flower left on his chair. The shadow she thought she saw near the living room. The strange dream that did not feel like a dream at all. Everything inside her had whispered the same warning. Do not go. But Ajay? Ajay had laughed. Not cruelly. Worse, dismissively. As men do when danger flatters them. Because Mohini looked at him in a way that made him feel chosen, desired, important. And vanity is a leash most men happily place around their own neck. Behind them, the mist rolled quietly across the path. Not rushing, not chasing, simply closing, like a door being shut softly. And then they saw it. Mohini's house did not look like a neighbor's home. It rose from the trees like something much older. Heavy, dark wood. Carved pillars. Long, silent windows glowing with warm orange light. It looked less like a house and more like a place people were brought to. Before Ajay could knock, the door opened. Of course it did. Mohini stood there. The bright colors of the morning were gone. Tonight, she wore deep purple silk. Soft. Dark. The fabric seemed to drink the candlelight around her, and the scent of jasmine followed her. Thick, sweet, almost too rich to breathe. Rasika had to fight the urge to step back. Mohini welcomed them inside. Not surprised, not pleased. Certain. as if she had been waiting for them for a very long time. Because perhaps she had. Inside, the warmth was unnatural. A great fire burned in the stone hearth. The dining table was already prepared. Rich food, steaming rice, dark wine resting in crystal glasses. Everything perfect. Everything ready. They sat. Ajay ate quickly, hungrily, as though the house itself had awakened something restless inside him. His city manners disappeared with the first bite. He drank deeply, his eyes returning again and again to Mohini, to her smile, to the way she watched him. Rasika barely touched her plate. Her body remained still, but her mind was racing. She watched Mohini across the table, the way a frightened deer watches a tigress. Still, quiet, waiting for movement. Mohini leaned slightly forward, watching Ajay, not Rasika. Never Rasika. Not yet. There was amusement in the way she observed him, the kind one reserves for something already owned. Then, her attention shifted, slowly, toward Rasika. And for one brief second, just a single heartbeat, the mask slipped. The warmth in her face vanished. The softness disappeared. And her eyes burned. Deep, ancient, hungry. Rasika froze. Her breath caught so sharply, it hurt. Because no human eyes looked like that. No human patience lasted that long. Then it was gone. The smile returned. The warmth returned. As if nothing had happened. Ajay noticed nothing. Of course he didn't. Some men will ignore hell itself. If hell smiles beautifully enough. A moment later, Mohini's hand brushed against Ajay's glass. The dark wine spilled across his shirt. A slow crimson stain spreading over white cloth. Too red. Too deliberate. She moved closer. Soft. Apologetic, gentle, and led him away down the corridor to clean himself. The moment they disappeared, the house changed. The warmth thinned. The silence deepened. The walls seemed to listen. Rasika stood. Slowly, carefully. Because instinct speaks louder than politeness. And hers was screaming, "Run!" But instead, she searched. At the far end of the hall, a narrow corridor waited, darker than the rest, carrying the smell of damp earth and old flowers left too long to die. At the end of it, A door, slightly open. She pushed it. The room inside was freezing, as if warmth itself refused to enter. She found the switch. A single bulb flickered awake. Weak, barely enough. It was not storage. It was devotion. A shrine. The walls were covered in dried jasmine garlands. Dead flowers hanging like old prayers. And beneath them, photographs. Hundreds, maybe more. Rasika stepped closer, her hands shaking now. Ajay, last week, walking into his office. Ajay, their wedding day. His smiling face circled carefully in dark red ink. Ajay in college. Ajay as a teenager. Ajay as a child. Laughing in a park. Completely unaware. Years, decades, a lifetime. Watched, collected, chosen. And suddenly, Rasika understood. Mohini had not just found Ajay. She had been waiting for him for years, perhaps forever. This was never chance, never coincidence, never hospitality. This was hunting. Panic broke inside her. Hot, violent, immediate. She turned and ran, back through the corridor, back to the warmth, back to her husband. Because now, leaving was no longer a decision. It was survival. She burst into the dining room and stopped. Ajay was no longer at the table. The table was gone. He sat on the floor near the fire, still, peaceful. Too peaceful. His eyes open, but distant. Glassy. Empty. And his head rested gently in Mohini's lap. She sat beside him like a queen, beside something already surrendered. Her fingers moved slowly through his hair. Soft, rhythmic, almost tender. Ajay did not resist. He did not speak. He simply rested there, as if he had finally reached the place he had already been walking toward. Mohini looked up and smiled. Not kind, not cruel, certain. This time she did not hide. Her eyes burned openly now, bright in the firelight, ancient, terrible, beautiful. And Rasika understood the final truth. Ajay had not been taken. He had yielded. And tell me, what is more frightening? A monster that drags you into the darkness, or one that waits patiently for you to walk there yourself? Behind Rasika, the heavy front door slammed shut, hard enough to shake the walls. The lock clicked. Slow, final. Tomorrow night, Ajay will try to remember himself, and Rasika will have to decide whether love is enough to fight something that has been waiting for him far longer than she has. If your heart is beating a little faster, leave a like. It helps more lost travelers find this fire. And subscribe, because tomorrow the house will stop pretending to be a home. Because some invitations are not meant to be refused. They are meant to be completed.